Well, welcome everyone. I'm John Warren. I'm the Director of Admissions, and it is my pleasure to host this evening. We have a wonderful program for you tonight. It is the virtual open house for lower school. And we're sorry that we can't host you in person. Obviously, the restrictions say that we just can't all get together. So we're going to make do the best we can. So what I want to say is there is, as I look down the list of participants here, there's a very, very wide continuum of experience with Columbus Academy. We just had someone introduce themselves, and there's an alumna in the audience here. There are also, I noticed names that are new to Columbus Academy and don't have any relationship yet with us. So it's very exciting for us both to welcome kind of old friends back and meet new friends. So so the idea of tonight is that it is either the beginning or the continuation of a conversation. And we are thrilled to have you all here. Please, as the night goes on, I want to make just a couple of quick announcements. If you would turn on your video, but mute yourself, that would be great. We do want to, the panelists actually have asked that we, to make it a little more of an intimate affair, that they be able to see your faces. If you really don't want to, obviously you don't have to. But I do need to say, if you have questions, please throw them in the chat as we're going along. We'll get to as many of those questions as possible. Debbie and will be sharing a little bit toward the end of the open house about the application process, because obviously we are in the admissions office, and we would love to have further conversations about that. No pressure, of course, for you all. And I do want to mention that this is actually being recorded. It's not being recorded so that we can have anything that we know who's here or anything like that. We actually are recording this to make sure that if someone misses it, we can go ahead and share this with those people. It's not just going to be posted on our website or anything like that. So this is actually one in a series of virtual events that we've been doing. If you've been with us for a little bit of a time, you've heard of our Zooms at noon, and we just had one today talking about the athletic program at Columbus Academy. We've discussed COVID, we've discussed the athletic program. It's been a very the outdoor education program at Columbus Academy. Next week is actually one that may be interesting to you. Next week is Christy Benning, who is a Latin teacher and our department chair of service. And she will have a student with her, one of the presidents of the service board, and they will be discussing community service at Columbus Academy. Some people might think that is just an upper school event. In fact, Christy Benning, as the department chair of service, has the responsibility of making sure that community service is woven through our curriculum, even in the early grades. So that may be interesting for you. These are the Zooms at noon are at noon, of course, on Tuesdays. Next week also, next Tuesday evening at 6, middle school, upper school virtual open house. So if any of you have older children, you may want to participate in that. With those sorts of housekeeping business taken care of, I'd love to introduce Debbie Kieran, Assistant Director of Admissions for Lower School, who will go further and talk to you more about the panel that is going to be speaking with you this evening. So Debbie.
And such an astute panel it is. I'm going to introduce first Brelle Farrenkopf, who is the Associate Head of Lower School, kindergarten teacher extraordinaire, and also had been our reading specialist before this. And Brelle we refer to as our early childhood specialist as well too. Then we have Paul Kegelmayer, Director of Academic Programs. And Paul, to this day, you still remain my daughter Kelsey's favorite teacher, as girls were introduced to Academy in 1992, I believe. And then we have the big cheese, the head honcho. We have Mark Hansen. Mark's experience has been mostly in international schools, so he brings so much to the table. And I would hate to say combined all the years that we have at Academy together, but it would be an impressive amount, I'm sure, if I ever added it up. But I'm going to turn the evening over to Mark, because this session is going to be about all grades in the lower school. And so I'm sure you're going to want to tune in to what's happening in your child's grade now and in the years to come. And so Mark, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Debbie and John, and good evening and welcome everybody. I think I'm going to try and share my screen now. So let me see if I can get this started here. So hopefully everybody can see this picture on right now. And this is a group of students. And what you're going to notice tonight is we have a mixture of current students, as you can see there, with masks. And you're going to see students from previous years, of course, that don't have masks on. So obviously this is one from this fall. And one of the things that we really have encouraged teachers to do is to explore our campus, which is vast and lovely and wonderful, 231 acres. So this is a group of students. You can see each of them has this blue tarp, and that's something new this year. It's a 3-foot by 3-foot tarp, and they carry it around in their backpacks. And so wherever they go, if they want to sit down, if they're working on an assignment, or if they're drawing, or if they're eating, whatever it may be, they have something to sit on, and then they just fold it up. And with that, I think please make sure if you have any questions, unmute at any time. If you have any questions, we want to leave as much time as possible. So our goal is to get through these slides fairly quickly. Having the Explorer through grade 5 all in one evening is a new concept for us. So we will move quickly through them, but we want to make sure that we leave enough time for questions at the end. But if there's something that comes up, please feel free to stop us. And as Debbie said, my name's Mark Hansen, and this is my 4th year at Academy, and I'm very privileged to be able to serve with such a terrific faculty and colleagues on the administrative team. My wife and I, we have 3 children. Our oldest graduated from college 2 years ago, and he lives in Iowa and works in Iowa. Our middle son graduated from Academy 2 years ago and is a college student in Iowa. And our daughter Ellen is a 9th grader here at Academy. And so that's kind of a little bit about me. Brelle, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Brelle Farrenkopf, and I am the Associate Head of Lower School. I oversee the early childhood program, so that would be the Explorer pre-K and kindergarten programs. And I also support I also direct the child support team, which is our reading and learning styles and speech and language support. I have 3 kids who have graduated from Academy, and my husband teaches in the upper school at Academy, so it's definitely all in with our family. The family affair for the Farrenkopf. And we're excited you're here tonight so we can tell you all about how great Academy is.
Thank you, Brelle. Paul, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Paul Kegelmayer. I'm Director of Academic Programs here at Columbus Academy. I've been teaching for about 42 years. 33 have been at Columbus Academy in lower school. I have taught math at various grade levels. I've also taught 3rd grade, and I've also taught 4th grade, PE, and upper school health at one time. I have 3 kids. 2 of them are gone out of the house. They're at from Columbus Academy. They went to Columbus Academy, but they're in California right now. And we have one of them that we're here. Our youngest is here at home. He is from Notre Dame College where he goes to school. And of course, they're remote right now. And so he's home remotely and learning, and also swims for the Notre Dame program in Cleveland, Ohio. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad that you're taking part in Columbus Academy and everything it's about, because I feel it's a wonderful school to be here, to come and see. And I hope you see the same after we get done here tonight.
Thank you very much, Paul and Brelle. This is something you're going to see kind of throughout here, and it's our tagline. This is the Academy experience. And I think we have tried to capture that in our slides, but it certainly doesn't do it justice in terms of what you would see if you're on campus and you get to walk around and you get to see the magic that happens in the classrooms. And that's really, really a challenge when we're in this type of environment. So we will do our best, but please, schedule a time to come and look at the school on the weekends and different times when they are doing tours, so you can see it, even though the students won't be here. We don't have visitors and we don't have parents, only students and faculty are allowed into the buildings. And so with that, I'm going to show a slide, and this is not to highlight COVID so much, but to just highlight our commitment to having school at school. And we really feel strongly that kids, especially young children, learn best when they're at school. And we learned this last spring when we were online, of course, like everybody else, but we really did everything possible. And so this summer, and even before then, we started looking at what it was going to take this year to open school and have all of our students, and especially our lower school students, on campus. And we have followed all of the recommendations of the American Academy of Pediatrics and beyond. And to give you an idea, last year we had 28 homeroom sections in the lower school. So that's our explorers, our 3-year-olds through 5th grade. We had 28 total. In order to meet the American Academy of Pediatrics, what they said was that, the 6 feet distancing and podding and doing all that, we have increased to 45 homeroom sections. So we have, as you can see there, dramatically increased the number of sections. And how that works for us is those students are with one teacher, the homeroom teacher, all day. It's an average class size of 10 students. We have some as low as 5 students in a class, and we have one large one at 13 students per class. But the co-curricular classes, the teachers come in, except for PE and swimming, they come into the classroom and teach the class in there. Lunch is delivered to the room. The students go outside for recess and different times during the day to play, but they only play within their pod. And we also, like I said, eat lunch with the pod. So it's our commitment, because we really feel we want these children here at school. And we've been very pleased that since we started, we had a 2-week kind of orientation with all the directional hallways and all the things that we needed to do. We had a slow start for 2 weeks, but now we've been back with everybody on campus. And one of the things that we're doing is we're taking advantage of our campus. And this is, we created 15 new outdoor classrooms. And so throughout the campus, there are signs and that'll say outdoor classroom number 1 through 15. And you see these stumps, and they're not reserved, just classes can go out. Some of them, this one has a sunshade. So when it was warm and really sunny when we started back up, several of them have this to kind of take the sun off. But they're still being used now, even as the weather changes. But it's a chance for kids to get outside and be in an environment where they've got lots of fresh air. And so again, this is a picture from this year. This is a picture from a previous year, and it kind of just shows you the awe. And these are students that are conducting a science experiment. And if you just go around and you look at the 4 faces, you can just kind of see where each of them are in discovering what they're doing with this experiment. And you'll learn a little bit more about our science program as we go through. But we wanted to share as many pictures as we could tonight to give you a better snapshot of our lower school. And a lot of schools, and certainly, the term rigorous is used a lot. I'm a big believer in the term vigorous, because if you look at the 2 definitions of rigor versus vigor, vigor is very much a positive term, and it's much more used in a positive light. Rigorous kind of has more, less than positive. And so in our lower school, our academic program, we are strong believers in a robust program, and we're committed to providing that. It's very purposeful. Everything we are doing is for a reason. And that may be just exploring, and it may be a very clear science experiment, but the kids are going through each step of it, and it's active. We are a very active school where we are using the campus, and we're getting outside, and we're moving around lots and doing all the things that young kids need to do to be successful in school. And I'll finish my little part and then turn it over to Brelle by Lev Vygotsky. And he said, what a child can do in cooperation today, he can do alone tomorrow. And I think that's a really important thing to think about. And we want kids to be working together today so that they feel successful when they can be independent in doing things later on. And so we do, just like that science experiment picture, we do a lot of things in small groups. And of course, that's a little more challenging right now, but certainly we are able to continue doing it. And so I'm going to turn it over to Brelle, and she's going to share some of the highlights and talk about our early childhood program.
Mm-hmm. So our early childhood program begins with the Explorer classes. And I won't read through this whole slide for you, but just to let you know, some of the highlights of the Explorer program. It's definitely an active experiential program, learning all day long through experiencing activities. It's child initiated as well as teacher directed. And it's called the Explorer program for a reason. The kids are outside exploring and discovering. They're inside exploring and discovering. The teachers put a lot of activities out in front of the children and encourage them to explore them in ways that will develop their senses, their fine motor skills, beginning to, that sense of wonder and the excitement about learning. We do a lot of careful documentation in the Explorer program. The teachers share their notes through portfolios with parents to talk about a child's growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year in all kinds of areas, the cognitive areas, but also social, emotional, and motor skills. One non-negotiable for the Explorer program is that we do ask that all of the children are completely toilet trained before they begin in the program, just because there is so much time spent outside and away from the classroom. It's really important that the kids are independent in that area. Moving into some of the slides here, you can see the kids are inside, outside, doing all kinds of fun things. Today, I think the minute they got to their classrooms, they were bundled up and out the door and playing in the snow. It was a great day in the lower school for the kids, all ages. Just some more inside activities, developing motor skills and mixing colors. And you can see again, some pictures from now and some pictures from previous years. Our pre-K and K programs do a great job of taking the explorers from where they are and moving into the next steps. Pre-K, again, is more active and experiential learning, but slowly but surely, as the children move through the pre-K and K programs, the teachers are they're masterful at seeing what the kids need and how to move them on into the academic areas, developing those early reading skills, early number sense and math skills. And a lot of this is taught hands-on through developmentally appropriate activities. Lots of differentiation of the smaller class sizes. And then when we do have the opportunity to have associates in the room, there's a lot of time for the teachers to engage with the children one-on-one and meet their individual needs. And the academics in the pre-K and kindergarten classes are taught in a workshop model. So the teacher will do a lesson for the whole class, and then the children get to go and work individually or in small groups to practice the skill that the teacher introduced in the whole group lesson. And during that time, the teacher is able then to bop around to the kids and check in and see how this person is doing with this skill and how this person is doing this with this skill. And again, that allows for lots of differentiation. Here, the children are working on some writing. They may be doing some creative writing. They may be writing in their journals, all different types of writing happening, even at the pre-K and kindergarten level. Here's a reading workshop. Again, lots of differentiation. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner, the girls have their own book bins, and so the kids are exploring books that are at just right level for them. We have the author's chair where the children can share things that they have written. And we also bring technology in a little bit more in the pre-K and kindergarten classrooms. And then again, math. You can see lots of hands-on activities. We want the kids experiencing what they are learning, not just hearing the teacher talk about something, but diving in and getting hands-on and really seeing how things work and why numbers come together the way they do, and how we can put groups of objects together, take them apart, and really developing that number sense. And then, of course, there's still lots of time for play in these classrooms. I think free choice and centers time is definitely a highlight for the kiddos. And the teachers are pretty good at sneaking in learning even during the playtime, but you can see there's a lot of dramatic play and manipulatives and just time for the kids to be kids.
Thank you very much, Brelle, for highlighting the early childhood program. I'm going to share a few things here, and then Paul Kegelmayer will take over. Going into the 1st through 5th grade, as I mentioned, it's certainly a robust academic program. I think one of the things that is a huge advantage for our school is that all of our students from age 3 up until they graduate are all on one campus, and the benefits of that are huge. And one of them is that our teachers are serving on committees. Our early childhood teachers, along with our calculus math teachers, are serving on math committees. And so the high school is letting the middle school know these are kind of the things that we need to make sure our students know coming in, and the middle school and the lower school work together. And this is just kind of every Monday we have different meetings after school. And this is one of the huge advantages in terms of our curriculum development, is to have everybody here and knowing what we need to do, and they need to certainly give us feedback, and we share with them. It also allows for great buddy opportunities and different activities. And modeling. Our older kids are great models for the younger ones, and they see them on campus, they see them on the sports fields, they see them in the gyms, in the classrooms, and it's just a terrific opportunity. As I mentioned, our campus is wonderful for exploring. We offer art, PE, swimming, library, music, wellness, IT, and Spanish. Our science classes are taught by 2 science specialist teachers. And for this year, actually, they are doing almost all of their lessons outside. So they redesigned their curriculum so that it's really taking advantage of being outside, whether it's raining, sun is out, whatever it may be, they're out. We have a dedicated makerspace time in grade 5, which is now being extended next year into grade 4. We have lots of parent involvement. Field trips, Paul will get into these later on. We also have weekly student assemblies, and normally these would be done, right now they're all done virtually. We send them out to the homeroom classes, but normally each week a different class organizes it and does it. So it's a wonderful opportunity for kids to get an opportunity for public speaking. And I'm going to have Paul now talk about a few different highlights of the grade 1 through 5 academic program.
Yes, thank you, Mark. The first thing on the agenda there is ST Math, which is for our 1st and 2nd grades. It's a supplemental math program. And this program is like a video game. We have Gigi the penguin, and they love Gigi, and they move the penguin around in order to solve math puzzles. All right. But the biggest thing about this program is it's not language-based. It's no written language on it at all. You try and try again until you get it right. You can't move up a level until you get it 100%, which teaches perseverance. And that's what we want to do in our program, and that's the main goal in our program. Our grades K to 5, our foundation math program is Envision Math 2. We like it because of the learning tools that it has to offer. It has videos, visual games, visual videos, extended enrichment activities. And we especially like it because of the rich problem-solving exercises that the students and the teachers work together with. We also have supplemental, just like our ST Math, our supplemental math manipulatives like Marcy Cook tiles, pattern blocks to teach concepts and skills. And of course, differentiated lessons, we differentiate. We have pre-tests and we see what the kids know. And then we put them in activities with what level they're on at that time. We also, of course, we have a great readers workshop. I know that Brelle did a lot of research with this. Our curriculum is Fontes and Pinnell, where there's interactive read out louds, where teachers read to the kids, and then the kids turn and talk and discuss and collaborate certain concepts and skills or questions that the teachers have. From the read it louds, we have mini lessons. And of course, we go about 10 minutes to 15 minutes on teaching a mini lesson, which is teaching concepts and skills of reading. And then the kids go into guided reading groups, which students are at their level of reading. And we know that because we assess their level of reading. And there they continue to work on the skills and concepts from what they've learned from the mini lesson. And of course, all reading, we need to independently read, and we need to promote that because we want the love of reading from each child in our classroom. And so we do that a lot. And so we expect the children to read every night. Our writing workshop, we teach the writing process. We teach the various forms of writing, narratives, research, etc. Just like Brelle said, the kids celebrate with their published piece at author's chair, and then the kids respond to their writing what they liked about their reading or liked about their writing. And of course, you'd like that we also teach manuscript writing and handwriting. We go with Danielian handwriting also. For grades, I think we start in the middle of second grade and practice our manuscript writing or our cursive writing up to fifth grade. Our co-curriculars, we have a lot of them, as you can see: music, PE, art, library, technology, swimming, and Spanish. We do a lot with this. Music, we have each grade level has a concert for the year that they put on. I know that the music teachers right now are working effortlessly with the fourth grade because they are working on a musical at this point to put on for our lower school and for all of our community. We have a wonderful art program. I talk about, I wish I had Lloyd Sassetti in art at such a young age, and then maybe I wouldn't still do stick people today. But he's a wonderful art instructor. And if you look at our school and come to our school, you will see a lot of art on the walls. Technology is learned all through the school, from kindergarten up. I even think pre-K on up. And a lot of it's used, we do it for learning the keyboard, but also we do coding. And like Mark said, we use a lot, we do a lot of makerspace with the fifth grade, and we're going to look at fourth grade with makerspace program the second half of the year. Swimming at this point, we do not do it because of COVID. So we kind of stopped it because of the increase in the virus itself that people have in the virus. And of course, our language, what we use is Spanish. And that's what we teach the kids at a young age. Responsive classroom, to me, has been probably one of the best programs that we have adopted here at Columbus Academy. It teaches to create a safe and challenging and joyful classroom, not only for the kids in the class, but school-wide. We've had all of our teachers trained in it. They had 4 days of training, and they either took RC1 or RC2 for that. Also, the guided principles, as you see here, one of them particularly says teaching social and emotional skills is important as teaching academic conduct. And we do believe that. Equally is true, because I believe the social emotional skills, you got to feel important, you got to encourage respectful learning. And of course, once that takes place, then the academic comes from the students. How we teach is important, is what we teach. And there's no doubt about that, is because what we teach and how we teach it as a teacher. And what I can say is, you can take, if a kid is bored in a subject, he won't be bored at Columbus Academy, because I feel that the teachers here are passionate, they're very creative, and they meet the needs of the students. So we try to motivate the students in various ways in order to meet their needs and for learning to take place. As you can see, RC is part of morning meeting, or morning meeting is part of RC. We begin the day by a greeting, by a sharing. The students will share something from their culture, from their home, their hobbies, etc. We have a group activity, which is a game. And then we have a morning message, which starts their day and what their day will be like. This builds a connection between the students and the teacher. And it's an important part of responsive classroom, because it builds community and a classroom of respect. CARES is an acronym which is very much part of a responsive classroom. C is cooperation. A stands for assertion. R means responsibility. E is empathy, and S is self-control. And that is modeled daily and reinforced daily and everywhere we go within our school.
Thank you very much, Paul, for all that great information. Something else that we're involved in, and where I think our CARES comes through, and responsive classroom, and just the community of our learners, is we have a great connection with the 3rd grade going to the Kensington Senior Center, and they go about once a month. Unfortunately, we've not obviously been able to do it this year, but it is a big part, and the kids love the residents. They've gotten to know them. Bill, the gentleman on the far right, it is the highlight of his probably month, and he is so excited. We even had him come and visit campus, and that we were told by one of the people that kind of worked there that Bill has quite a voice. And so he came to a pep rally, and in front of 1,200 students and about 200 faculty, he started the assembly off by singing the national anthem, and is just, it's a joy to have this. And the kids get so much out of this, as do the residents. These are just some pictures of some 3rd graders at various stages. You can see there, these are pre-COVID, and just sharing different times. These are more reading activities that they're doing outside. That's something that we really encourage, of course. Glen Helen, Paul, if you want to just briefly, we'll just kind of go through our 2 sleepaway trips that unfortunately have been postponed this year because of COVID.
Yes. Glen Helen, which is in Yellow Springs, Ohio. We go for 2 nights and 3 days. The students are put in tribes of about 8 or 9 per group, and a naturalist from Glen Helen takes over and teaches classes for the kids. And you can see out there that the one picture, there's an owl, and there's a lot of teaching going on. And one of the things that they learn about are owls. And in science class, we learn about owls, and it's followed up at Glen Helen. So that's one of the pictures. And of course, streaming is on your left. A lot to learn about streaming and what's in the stream. Heartland is in grade 5. That's in Marengo, Ohio, just off of 71, a little past Galena. It's 2 days and 1 night. It fosters teamwork and communication among the students, as well as understanding the outside classroom with activities like of archery, streams. They work in streams with a net to see what they can catch and what they learn from the stream. They learn about different animals, trees. They create forts, as you can see on the right, and so on. This is more of a modern camp. They do have memory foam mattresses, which the teachers like. The other, Glen Helen, is more rustic and more outdoorish in that way of a camp. Not as
Yes.
modern.
Rustic is a good term for Glen Helen. Thank
Yeah.
you, Paul. Part of our social studies program, just wanted to share also, and I would say one of the capstone projects in the lower school that our fifth graders do is participate in the World Peace Game. And this is their entire curriculum for 1 week. And you can see there, this is a board that we have in the classrooms, and it's a three-dimensional board. And part of it is for what's under the water, underground, on the surface level, sea level, and then in the air, and then in space. And you can kind of see their definition. It's not an easy thing to define in a slide, but it is, all of the students are given a specific role, and then there's all these problems that develop, and they have to come up with ways of solving them with the least amount of military might. And it's really about diplomacy and working together and solving problems. And it's just a terrific opportunity for our fifth graders. And there you can see another one. And Mrs. Taglia, the teacher, she's off to the left, but you can see these are two sets of classrooms all together, and they each have their job, and they're talking and trying to convince others and through this week-long activity. This is our science program. Science is, Paul's going to talk briefly about our science program in the lower school.
Yes, it's all about exploration, particularly with the outside. We talk about owls, like I said, in fourth grade, they talk about owls, owl pellets. They like to bring themes together. It was one of the reading books named Poppy, and Poppy is about an owl. So they brought science into it. They talk about soil and landforms. They create solar cars, which is neat. And we also have a greenhouse. And one great interesting thing about the greenhouse is we had kids that grew lettuce and basil, I think it was basil, in the greenhouse, and we ate it for our lunch in the dining hall. So it was a great tribute to what our kids can do with the greenhouse. We also have talk about butterflies. We do life cycles of butterflies and the migration pattern of butterflies, just to name a little bit.
Yeah, so we've been releasing monarch butterflies from school, having them grow and develop, and then we tag them, and then they head off and migrate. And I think we've had 5 or 6 where we've been notified at this sanctuary in Mexico that our butterflies that left Academy arrived there. So it's quite a exciting time when they leave, and then of course when we find out months and months later that some of them actually made it all the way down to Mexico. Brelle, if you'd like to talk about our counseling program.
Yeah, so our counselor, Sean Diddy, gets to work with the students in their classrooms at least once a rotation. He spends time working on mindfulness. He does some belly breathing. He also works through a program called PABS, which connects really well with our responsive classroom program, in that it helps the children learn about problem solving and relationships and how to interact with each other in positive ways. You can see Sean's working with the kids outside, inside. The kids really look forward to their time with Sean. Outdoor play. We've mentioned this quite a bit, that we enjoy spending time outside. And just to give you a little insight, in Explorers, pretty much every day is Exploring Outside Day. They hike around. It's amazing. I think sometimes the kids come in and they've clocked three miles of hiking around the campus in a morning. It's pretty awesome. And for our pre-K kids, they do spend a lot of time outside, but Fridays are called Forest Fridays in the lower school. And pre-K, kindergarten, first grade, they all spend the entire day outside. As soon as the kids get to school, they do a quick restroom run, gear up for the day, and head on out. We've even shifted to, for our pre-K kids, instead of eating in the dining hall on Friday, this year they shifted to having sacked lunches for their lunch on Friday, so they could take those with them and continue their explorations outside. So lots of time outside, rain, shine. Our last rainy day, the teachers were sending in pictures of the kids stomping through puddles and creeks, and one teacher even got stuck. I think we had to call the facilities crew to help her get her boot out of the mud. She was stuck up there, and the kids thought that was just amazing. So the teachers are all into it too.
It was pretty exciting today. I was down in where the fifth grades are. After lunch, they were all getting dressed in their snow boots and snow pants, of course, because they were all headed out to go sledding. So we take full advantage of the campus here at Academy. Just a couple of more slides before we get to your questions. This is on service learning, and service learning is really a very important part, and it goes along with our cares. And you can see on the right some of the things that we do there. We do cookies for Faith Mission. We do some things locally. We do some things in the community as well. We're planting Ohio native plants, mulching pathways, delivering paper snowflakes, and just lots of opportunities. The picture on the right there is the students get in fourth grade, they have a shopping list and they have a set amount of money. And so that's why you see the calculator there. And a parent has a group of students, and we bus them all to Meyer in Gehenna, and they go around and they shop for a specific family. And so it's a family of 5 or a family of 3 or however many people are in the family. And they have to figure out with the set amount of money that they have, what they can buy. And so it's quite an activity that they go through. And I think that follows here on, you can see they're doing some more shopping on the right there, and they compare prices and what's a better deal to make it, of course, into math. But there's lots of opportunities for that. And with that, I think I'm sorry, I have one more slide here. A standard question we often get during our open houses is, does the lower school give a standardized test? And we're an independent school. And one of the things about an independent school is we are not required to give all of the tests that the state of Ohio give in public schools. And so we give one, a very challenging test called the ERB CTP. And we give it here starting in the 3rd grade through 8th grade. And we don't do it for science because our science program is so much hands-on. It's the one section of the test that we don't do because it really doesn't fit in with what we're doing. But it's really, the ERB is a program check, and it's a way for us to look at, we get lots of data from it, and we're able to look at where our kids doing really well. If we see some areas that we need to tweak in our curriculum, we can do that. It gives you as the parent to see how your child's doing each year from 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade in the lower school and then up through middle school. And it also, you see how students are doing compared to other independent schools and suburban schools and other school settings. So that's a question we often get, but it's just one test that we give in the spring. Unfortunately, last year, we of course weren't able to give it being online, but we plan to give it this year as well. And with that, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Debbie and John and kind of lead us in questions and things you saw that you'd like to probe further, or questions that you have in the chat room. This would be a great time. So John, Debbie, I'll let you take it from here.
Debbie, why don't you lead that? I'm going to launch the poll that we have.
Okay,
So,
sounds good. I'll talk a little bit about the process for applying to Academy. We're a little bit different this year because I'll start with the Explorers program and what we have in mind. Usually the Explorers kids come and they play on a Saturday morning in a group of about 10. And obviously we're not able to do that this year. So we are going to turn this over a little bit to parents. We're going to ask parents of children applying to the Explorers program to do a video of their child at home we'll be sending out in January directions to you, and you'll have a weekend and a day to make this video. And what we're asking is to just maybe take a video of, there'll be guidelines of your child playing with a toy, or maybe singing a song. It won't be anything very earth shattering. I know I worked with a consortium in Boston, and this is how they're doing it too. One thing about COVID, it offered a lot of educators across the country to collaborate and see what the best way is for children. So like I said, you'll receive that in January, can make that brief video of your child, and the guidelines will be easy to follow. For pre-K through 4th grade, we have rented Gehenna Creekside Center in downtown Gehenna, very close to Academy. Here we are with 231 acres, and we're renting a large space, but that is because we can spread out. We will have time slots. Hopefully you received an email about that. Certain grades will be on certain days, and you'll be able to sign up. I'm sorry, but only one parent, because we have to limit the number of people in the room, obviously, while your child is screening with the screener. And I will say, this place is large enough. We're going to be sitting 24 feet apart. The person screening your child will sit across the table instead of right next to them. We will be able to read a story to them because there's a huge dance area, and we can put X's and kids can sit far enough apart that is something we will probably be able to do. While your child is being screened, Mr. Warren and I will be able to talk to you as parents and answer any of your questions and fill you in on the process and the timetable and all of the above. One thing about signing up for screening that you need to know is that you must apply before you're able to be able to sign up for a time to come. That's just kind of your permission for us to screen your child. Children entering 5th grade will do the ICEE, and I'm going to I want John to talk about that a little bit more for 5th grade. We are a center for giving this. We're trying to make arrangements for that to be safe at our school, but also having options as well. John, I hope you can come back to me, but I would like you to talk a little bit about the 5th grade process.
Yeah, the screening for 5th grade actually is like the screening for grades 6 through 12. It's actually the ISEE test. It's called the Independent School Entrance Exam. And Mark had mentioned the ERB CTP test that our 3rd grade through 8th grade students take. And the ISEE test is that same sort of test, but instead of obviously our own students, it's the applying students. It's given nationally. And we just have made a decision that we are going to offer 4 seatings at the Columbus Academy. We've managed to make that happen. December, not that anyone has to take notes. We're going to be sending an email about it, but a number of weekends, December 19th, January 3rd, February 6th, and January 16th. I'm surprised that I could name them all right off the top of my head. Anyway, so those will go on. You'll be getting more information about it. But what we want to do is make sure that the families are getting all the information they need. So if you ever have any problems or questions about the application process, Debbie and I are happy to answer those. So Deb, we gotta, why don't you just, if you got one more thing to add, let's go and do that, but we got to get to those other questions.
That's okay. Let's get to the questions. I don't want anyone. I just thought I'd close with something, John, but let's get to the question.
Okay. Yeah, you can close. Okay. We did see one question in the chat that was about, there was a student who is very advanced in reading, and the question was, how do we at Columbus Academy make sure that we're meeting those needs of all the students? So Mark, if you want to talk about that a little bit, it'd be great.
Actually, thank you. That's a great question. And we just have revised and put in our guided reading program with Fontes and Pinnell. And I'm going to turn it over to Brelle because she led that charge in changing it. So Brelle can talk about how kids are reading books at the level they're meant to be read at.
Yeah, as Mark said, we are using Fountas and Pinnell as the foundation for our Readers Workshop model. And using the Readers Workshop model is really, really great in helping us differentiate for our students. So we are able to meet the kids wherever they are. We have a range of readers in every classroom. Some children may need a little boost. Some children are right at, the expected grade level benchmark, and some are reading well beyond that. And so we start every year by, of course, getting to know the kids just as individuals. And then one of the things we do is we use the benchmark assessment system, which is part of Fountas and Pinnell. And it lets us learn about children's reading abilities, both in word accuracy, as well as into the comprehension and the fluency pieces. And then teachers use that information from the benchmark assessment system to guide their instruction in the classroom. And so looking for patterns on what the majority of the children need, they'll put together mini lessons for the class with skills that really all readers use. And then they will differentiate into groups, breaking the kids into groups, very flexible groups. Maybe 1 week, these 3 students and these 2 students and these 5 students are in a group working on a specific skill. And then as the children take on new information, they'll shake those groups up. The teachers are constantly watching and learning about the children as individual readers. During the workshop model, in addition to the guided reading time, there's also individual reading time where the teachers can have one-on-one conferences with the students. And again, learning even more about those children. So the reading materials in the classroom are sometimes whole class novels where the teacher may be reading out loud to the group and zeroing in on some of those deeper comprehension skills and doing a lot of talking with the kids and having the children turn and talk and share ideas with one another. And then the children also have independent reading choices where those books are selected by the child and the teacher together, knowing what a good fit book is and what is interesting to the child. And so we are always encouraging the kids to work at the level that is a good fit for them, and then working to move them a little bit more and a little bit more. And then we're also looking to move them this way too. So we're extending, so a child may be really good at reading at this level in fiction or a fantasy book, but maybe they're not quite as into nonfiction. So we're going to challenge them to take those comprehension skills to the next level. So we're always looking at moving children up and across and really working with them where they are.
Yeah. And what I would add is that actually continues not just in lower school, but all the way through our middle school and through the high school. We have an incredibly strong track record of differentiating and meeting students in all subjects where they are. If it weren't that way, we would not have a 3 to 4% attrition rate each year. Very, very low by national standards. Unbelievable. People join us and they want to stay because they're so happy with us. Another question was, can you please provide detailed information of the screening for pre-K? Rather than be able to do that just because we've got a time limitation, I'm going to talk a little bit about, and Debbie, you can jump in, but the way that I describe the screening for every grade is, number one, there's nothing that's surprising. In our earliest grades, we're looking at pre-numeracy, pre-literacy skills. We're looking at the social growth and the social emotional growth of the children. Again, nothing that we're looking for students who are ready to engage in what is a vigorous program. And again, nothing would surprise you in terms of the pre-K skills. We're going to be asking a few letters. You know, what letters do you know? What numbers do you know? How accounting skills? Again, nothing that would surprise anyone. And again, that's for pre-K. Imagine moving up. So without going into too much detail here, it really is the case that we're looking for the boys and girls who are ready. One last thing that I'd mentioned, the famous Michael Brown story. Michael Brown was a student my first year of being the admissions director. He was a senior, and if we were able to do this, you would be taking on a tour of the campus by a upper schooler. So I was introducing Michael Brown to a group of about 10 or 12 parents, and he was a very very bright young man. He actually started for us in fourth grade at Academy, and I introduce him, and he says to the group, "I remember my third grade test when I started at Academy." And this is again my first year. This is one of my first tours here, and I'm just looking at him going, "What the heck's going on? What are you talking about?" And he actually said, "Oh my, yeah, I remember because they asked me to do double-digit multiplication, and I had never been taught double-digit multiplication." And I saw a whole lot of parents' eyes get wide and go, "Oh my gosh, what haven't I taught what doesn't my child know?" And the funny part of the story is I listened to that and I was horrified as the director of admission. I was going, "Oh my gosh," we took the admissions office, which I'm very proud of. We asked this poor young boy who was in third grade a question that was totally unfair. He had never been taught this skill. So what we're trying to do is balance some skills and the ability to get ready to go. And it's an art as much as science, and we do it very, very well. I'm sorry, that was a long-winded explanation. So.
Other questions, John, we have here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we have other questions?
Yeah, it says, how would Academy help new students to adapt to his or her class and the school? Transition question. I don't know who wants to take it.
Sure, I'll quickly give an answer. And I would say, we don't, like John just mentioned, we have a very low attrition rate, so we don't have many students leaving us. So when we do get new students, the kids are super excited because it's a new friend and it's somebody new in the class. And so I think we're known as a very friendly school. I think the kids are very accepting and open about new students that come in. There's lots of opportunities. There's lots of after school activities that the kids in a normal year can take part in. There's activities that go on within the class. There's class trips. Both of our fourth grade trip and our fifth grade trip, we purposely do them early in the year, like within the first 3 weeks for the fourth grade, because it's a great chance when you go away for 3 days to really get to know kids and to make new friends. So I would say making friends is a pretty easy thing to transition. I think it may be just a different style of learning that may probably, in some cases, depending on what your child is coming from, may be the biggest difference, because how they do things in the previous school may be quite different the way we do it. And our students have there's a lot of questions, and there's a lot of not simple questions, but questions, where we want to probe and find out more about what they're thinking and what they're doing. So that can be a little different. And I noticed on the poll, one of the things was about class sizes, and we have very small class sizes, but we also have, in a normal year, we have either 2 teachers in the classroom or a teacher and an associate in the classroom. And so that really helps. And it helps those students that need extension and that really are taking off in reading or math and whatever the subject may be, or those kids that are just struggling. And all kids struggle at some point. And if they're really having a tough time, then we've got that second teacher in the room to help and give them that individual attention. So that absolutely, in terms of our small class size, is advantageous.
If I can add one more item, as I've been the director of admissions now for 13 years. Debbie has a few years on me in terms of her work with admissions. But one of the things that people assume about Columbus Academy. If they know about Columbus Academy, they often know that we are a strong academic school, a kind of a school of achievement, if you will. And what oftentimes people think about as they think, oh gosh, that's a really tough school. And again, Mark's word vigorous instead of rigorous is a very important distinction here. One of the real key pieces is that people often assume, because we are a school of achievement, that the children are probably hyper competitive and that they are probably really driven and they don't know how to have fun and relax and all that. One of the great things is our lower school sets the stage for the love of learning, and the kids love coming to school and really setting it up. So just in case there's any preconceived notions out there out of the 20 families who are on the call thinking that, oh gosh, Columbus Academy is far too competitive in terms of just the attitude of the kids and the teachers. It's just not that way. Sorry to interrupt there.
We have more questions, or a couple more minutes for questions here. I see one more, maybe.
The question is, do you anticipate a return to pre-COVID education by the start of 21-22 year? We would love it. I'll go ahead and just respond. Everyone's fingers are crossed. We would love it. We sure do hope so. But safety actually is the most important thing to us. What we have done. Frankly, one of the reasons we actually, again, one of Mark's first slides, Mr. Hansen's first slides, was talking about going from 27 sections to 48 sections. We aren't talking about money here very often, but I will say that was incredible. This year has been an incredibly expensive year for Columbus Academy. We have moved, again, we built lots of classrooms, we hired lots of teachers. This has not been an inexpensive year for us. So not only is it better for the children if we're finished with the COVID situation, it actually would be better for the school in a kind of a financial way. That's not where our focus is, and obviously it isn't, because what we've done to take over that spot. Any one last question? It's 7:05, and I want to be we want to be careful with your time. But if anyone had one last question, we could try to do that. Debbie, if you have anything to add in the meantime, please.
I was just going to close by saying I usually end my tours this way when I talk to people. I hope you walked away tonight knowing that this is a place of exploration, of vigorous academics, of personalized instruction, and I can attitude where your child and your family should feel safe, secure, and that your child has a voice and you have a voice. No one appreciates it more than we do, your interest in the school. But I think all those things together epitomize the Academy experience. And if there's any other questions, John and I are more than willing to take emails. If something didn't get answered for you tonight, please let us know, because everybody wants to go into this with eyes wide open. Right. So thank you for attending.
Well, Debbie, I should close on that note, but I can't help but add one last thing. Again, there are 20-ish families on this call, and a quarter of our population receives tuition assistance. And so I am also the director of tuition assistance, and I would encourage you, that's all confidential. You don't have to ask any sorts of questions right now. But there's a video that we've put up on our admissions page that describes a little bit about the admissions philosophy, and there's another video in terms of how to apply for financial aid. And we are always happy, I am always happy to help parents in a confidential way. So please feel free to, any of you who've got questions about that, to reach out to me through the admissions office. All right. Well, Mark, Brelle, Paul, thank you so much. Attendees, we very much appreciate your interest. Please, again, this is the beginning of a conversation. Debbie and I are giving tours. Actually, we have student-led tours on the weekday afternoons and on weekends. So we would love it if you would come out to the school and let us show you around and get any individual questions that you have answered. All righty.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone. Really
Thank you
appreciate
all.
your time tonight.